We are Illumishade from Switzerland. I am Fabi.
And I'm Mirji.
And it is our very first North American tour. We're super happy to be here and thank you for having us.
Another side of you just came out recently. Could you tell me a little bit about the themes of the record and sort of what inspired it?
I think the main theme of this album is, as cheesy as it sounds, but it's the real life, human emotions and ups and downs that we go through. Compared to the first album that we put out, that was more about the fantasy world that we created and was telling about fantasy stories and everything that happens in this world. Now we really focused on this life here, on this reality, and I think since we put out the first album, I mean, Corona happened, and I think everybody was thinking and revaluing their lives and where we're standing and so on, and I think this is what our lyrics are about, what we went through in the past 3 years.
Yes, and the songs, they also grew very organically and a bit all over the place in the span of 2 years. So it's not like this huge concept album, but it was more just like very intuitive from all of the different band members. And yeah, everybody has songs they wrote a lot and then just gave some input. So it's very organic.
I think the coolest thing now for this album was that we could have this band week or band songwriting camp in the Swiss mountains. I think this really helped that everybody could just really dive into the music without having all the distractions. Not constructions. I was like, wait, that's wrong. Distractions, yes. From everything else that is happening around, so we could really just dive in, and I would say this album was definitely more a band effort compared to the first one.
I wanted to ask about the orchestration side of things, and I was reading that like film scores and stuff are a fairly heavy influence on the band.
I mean, I think we all in the band are a fan of movies, or you're a fan of Disney, we are a fan of Ghibli, and I'm also a film composer. So that chimes in well in my work with Illumishade, so I can bring these orchestral layers and soundscapes into the mix. It goes well together with all the elements, and it's it's fun. So in my normal work as a film composer, it's not only the picture, but it's like just this layer and then the sound layer. And in a band work, you have so much different inspiration. You have a chord, you have a melody, you have a riff, and this all feeds in so well into my other creativity. So yeah, there's a lot of input, and I think it's just so much fun that when it grows together, it's magic kind of.
Yes.
And on the visual side of things, and I guess thematically too, I sense a pretty strong, even with the album cover and the black and the white crane, there's sort of this like dark versus light, or good versus evil. Yeah,
I mean, the name Illumishade. So there we already have these contrasts, let's say. We didn't think too much in that sense. We just really liked the aesthetic of these two birds, one rather black, one rather white, facing each other. I think you can hear in the end these contrasts in the music. We love heavy stuff, we love the cheesy ballads. I mean, we have this Swiss-German ending, it's a piano ballad in the end. We just don't want to think in categories or in boxes or something. We just want to throw out the ideas that we have. And same with these two cranes that are facing each other. There was this idea a long time ago from Jonas that then got forgotten, and then we just kind of took it again, and we were really lucky to be working together with Vidick from Infected Rain. He did the artworks and all our merch and things. He's a very creative designer and graphic guy, and together with him we could really create this this new look of ours, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, and also this contrast and maybe duality is present in a lot of our songs and music. With, the contrasts you mentioned, and I think it's a fitting overall theme for this record.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask about the little choose your own adventure kind of story that you guys have on the website because I love that too.
Really?
As someone who grew up, those are like
Nice.
my favorite books when I was a kid. All the like
Yeah.
fantasy, choose your own adventure books. I read them over and over.
So that was Mark's creation,
Yes.
our drummer's creation, and we are all a big bunch of nerds, but he's probably one of our nerdiest, and super talented with these ideas and concepts and stories, and so he created that. That little adventure, and it's super cool.
Yes, he did all these sketches, and okay, if you go there, then this branch and this branch, and and also we started working already for the first album with Chrissy Berryman. She's actually from here. I don't know, we ended up working with her for the first album because of the fantasy world that we created, and now she also helped with the text from this Illumi quest. Obviously she is native English speaking really well with words as well, the way she writes and so on.
An author, right?
She's an author.
Writer.
Yeah, writer, yes. So she's from Toronto or close to here, so yes.
Eternal trust as the raging tide returns is a promise that remains within our hearts. As time repeats.
Is the fantasy world that you created something you want to continue with and continue to explore? Or?
I hope so. I think for this record it didn't feel right because, as Mirji mentioned earlier, it just this album happened on, let's say, time frame of 2-3 years, so it wasn't like an intense working time with a concept. But I personally love these concept albums. This is what I loved about the first album. So I hope to continue this maybe in a little bit different form, so we all like the visuals and the stories behind it. I personally would like it. We didn't decide yet. I think it probably would need another person in our team because it's already enough to have a band writing music and everything that comes around with it, and then creating and working on a total different new fantasy world. I don't know if we can do that, but maybe if we find somebody for the team, could be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean the stories and the style is always in the back of our heads, and maybe inspires us, even though it's not like that in the focus. So we'll see how it works out for the next record.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate not forcing it. I think it does have to make sense.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
like, this is the first time properly touring these songs, and how's it been?
It's been amazing. I mean, mind-blowing actually. I would never have thought that it's our first real big tour, our first tour in North America, and the reception's been great. The fans. I mean, in New York we had our very first mosh pit happening from the first song on at Gramercy's Theatre, and that was amazing. And we have so many people from the audience coming to us later. They just heard us and they've become fans. So it's been really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't wait for the rest of the tour. We're only 5 shows in so far, so really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thank you for having us.